Welcome to the NBA Triple Double Show powered by SportsMemo. I'm your host, Ronald Cabang from WagerTalk.com at UCapper Sports on Twitter. I'm going to be joined, as always, by my co-host here, Moneyline Matt from SportsMemo. We're going to be talking about the Nuggets and the Lakers today. We'll also be looking ahead to Game 4 of the Heat and the Celtics. Before we get into those games, though, I do want to talk about what we got going on over at SportsMemo and Wager Talk. It is $9 Monday. All your favorite cappers have picks and packages up and available on the website, sportsmemo.com and wagertalk.com for just $9. We also have the free live odds page on the site, the deals pages. Cappers provide free picks and analysis on a daily basis as well, along with their daily packages. Also, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button here on YouTube before you go. With that said, let's get Matt up here with me. Matt, you know how it is here. We always start the show pretty transparent, man. Like yesterday, I took a loss on the Celtics first quarter. That was my biggest play of the day. Luckily, MLB and WNBA kept me up on the positive side. But after a 10-1 run in the playoffs, I've taken L's in 3 straight NBA playoff games. I want to get back on track on the winning side today. Matt, maybe we can do it together here. But how's everything going here for you?
Yeah, what you're going through sounds a lot like what I'm going through. You know, before the show, we were even talking. We were absolutely cruising through the playoffs. And these are 2 series which I saw going 6 games, 7 games, and it looks like both teams very well could get swept. You know, I thought a lot more of the Lakers than what they've been. You know, the Lakers crushed me on Saturday. And then yesterday I went 1-1-1. So, you know, it is what it is. But a losing weekend. Last time we had a losing weekend, we rebounded with a 10-2 run and hoping to do something similar here. You know, so again, like you said, let's get back on track and ready to break this down.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's get to this first game here. The Lakers and the Nuggets. This is Game 4. Nuggets lead the series 3-0 after a rough start in Game 3. The Lakers actually were able to climb back. We're just down 2 points after the third quarter. Then all of a sudden, Jokic kind of just took over. Bruce Brown also provided a huge spark in that fourth quarter as well. Pretty much a lot of these guys on the key role players here on the Nuggets side doing their part. And on the Lakers side, you only have a couple guys doing what they need to do, but some key players that we thought were gonna have good series. I mean, D'Lo and guys like that are really struggling here. Matt, I want to go to you here, obviously, to talk about what we see here in Game 4 from a betting perspective. Also, I mean, this is a possibility that LeBron gets swept here. I don't think it's been done often throughout his career. Are you thinking that the Lakers can finally get one here in this series, or do you think they get swept? I mean, to me, I know you're not the biggest LeBron fan, but to me, if anyone's gonna make history, you would think LeBron might be the guy to do it. But man, just the Nuggets offense, they kind of look unstoppable at times. Like if it's not Jokic, if it's not Murray, now you got Bruce Brown or Porter. You know, it's somebody else. What are your thoughts on this one from a betting perspective and just overall?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be the first one to admit this Nuggets team and Nikola Jokic are absolutely making me eat my words. I thought this Lakers team would be a far greater challenge than anything the Nuggets have faced. You know, the Anthony Davis versus Nikola Jokic matchup, and Nikola Jokic has taken that no problem. And, you know, we've kind of talked about this. And to me, Nikola Jokic is hands down the best player in the world right now. And he's playing like it in the playoffs, and he was playing like it leading into the playoffs. He's done it the past 3 seasons, you know. But it's really been the emergence of Jamal Murray. You know, Jamal Murray, I know they're talking about bubble Murray, playoff Murray, whatever it may be. But the dude is absolutely balling. And, you know, he just kind of cuts their throat out every single time he makes 3 after 3 after 3. You know, it just, from the Lakers' perspective, that's so tough to keep up with. And, you know, going into this series, when I was evaluating it, I was somewhat thinking, okay, the Lakers role players, like, you know, the Austin Reeves of the world, the Rui Hachimuras, you know, the D'Los, I felt like they were going to have a very good series and that would propel them ahead. And, you know, guys like Rui are balling. Austin Reeves is absolutely balling. And, you know, there are guys like D'Angelo Russell who aren't playing too well at this point in time. But in my eyes, it's actually the Anthony Davis and LeBron James versus Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray matchup in which this game is getting completely lost because Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic are flat out outplaying Anthony Davis and LeBron James. I think Anthony Davis and LeBron James need to combine for a very big game here. To your point, if there is anyone in the NBA, even though I do not like LeBron very much, if there's anyone in the NBA who can get this done and go on a little bit of a run, it would be LeBron, and I think it would be this Laker team. Do I think they have any chance of coming back, and winning this series? No, I don't. But I think you could save some face, maybe winning a game here, maybe at least making Game 6 close, or Game 5 close, I should say. There's got to be something left in the tank. And when you're someone like LeBron James, where your legacy somewhat hinges on all of these games in these series, stuff like that, I would expect him to respond. He's only had one 30-point game this entire playoff run. He's been facilitating a lot more than usual, and I think he should be more aggressive. I think he has to be his typical aggressive self. You see Jamal Murray doing it. You see Nikola Jokic doing it. LeBron James needs to do the same thing, because last game, I felt like Anthony Davis pulled his weight. He had 28 points. He had 18 rebounds. He had 3 blocks. It's LeBron who needs to come with them now. They need to do this together. And then when you have someone like Austin Reeves chipping in 20 points, you should be able to get this done. So for me, I would be taking the Lakers -3 here. It is not nearly the confidence I had coming into the series, but the strategy that we've used coming up to this point, and I should say for both series, not just the Lakers and Nuggets, but for the Heat and Celtics, I've loved betting the more desperate team. And in this round, for whatever reason, it just has not worked. But, this is LeBron James. This is Anthony Davis. This is a Laker team with a lot of pride, backs up against the wall. I have to go Lakers here. -3 is something where I believe if the Lakers win, they're going to cover that 3-point spread. So for me, I do think the Lakers can get at least one game in this matchup. I know how great the Nuggets are playing, but backs against the wall, a lot riding on this, even for LeBron's legacy. I would have to go with the Lakers here.
Yeah, I mean, if one thing that I was looking at, Matt, and I want to get your take on it, was more so in the first quarter. Obviously they're down 3-0. You would think there would be some type of sense of urgency for coming from this Lakers team, especially a LeBron-led team. He should be able to get his team motivated, avoid the sweep. I mean, I believe he's gotten swept maybe once or twice in his career in the playoffs, if I'm not mistaken. So it's not something that happens often on a LeBron team. One thing I looked at historically, home teams down 3-0 in a playoff series, 7-6 straight up, 5-7-1 against the spread. So nothing significant there. Even the over and under, nothing significant. 6-1 for under. But the biggest gap in that game typically comes in that first quarter for that home favorite team. The average margin in that first quarter is plus 2.4 points. And the first quarter line is at a point and a half. You would think that, like I said, like a LeBron-led team motivated to avoid the sweep, hopefully takes care of business here in that first quarter. Maybe the Nuggets get a little bit lax, here up 3-0. The Lakers take advantage of it early. What are your thoughts on that first quarter there? You kind of avoid the adjustments from the Nuggets side as well. But, I mean, I'm with you here. I think the Lakers should be able to get this Game 4 here, avoid the sweep. But Nuggets probably take the series by the end of it. I'm just banking on the Lakers to avoid the sweep here. What is your thought about that early part of the game, though, that first quarter?
Yeah, I honestly think that's a great point, Ron, because that has been one of my takeaways in almost every single matchup. When they were in Denver and coming back home to LA, I really expected LA to come out and have a sense of urgency and to play well and to be aggressive going at the rim. And they really haven't done that. The Denver Nuggets have been beating them in the first quarter, and it's kind of transitioned into the second quarter and then into the second half. And, this Lakers team has been playing from behind so much, and they've come back and they got it, right into that point where it's basically tied up or up one, whatever it may be. And then you use all that energy coming back. You use all that energy on defense trying to stop them. And then you just don't have enough to get over the hump. It happens all the time. You'll see a team come back from 15, tie it up, and then they'll end up losing by around 10, which is what happened with the Nuggets once again, because you expend all that energy trying to come back. Darvin Ham has done a great job as the head coach of the LA Lakers. I'm sure he's trying to instill some urgency into this Laker team coming into the first quarter. And then once again, LeBron James. LeBron James has to get this team going, and he has to get himself going. And, he's got to come out and he's got to be that one to be aggressive in the first quarter. I think he knows that. He's a veteran. He's one of the best players all time, So I agree with you here. I think that would be a very good look because that's one of the things that has transitioned this Lakers team into 3 straight losses because they've come out a little sloppy. They've come out a little slow. So I'm 100% with you, Ron. I think the first quarter would be a great look because I think that's something that both Darvin Ham and LeBron are telling this Lakers team as a whole. We got to get it going early and often. We got to put that pressure on. So I'm with you. I think this first quarter win would potentially lead to a full game win as well. I think it's that important for the Lakers.
Yeah, for sure. The other thing to mention too, Matt, is how like LeBron typically goes out around like the 5 minute mark, 6 minute mark. I think in a must win situation here, he might end up playing that whole first quarter. I mean, something that's not he doesn't typically do, but definitely a must win situation. I would expect him, regardless of what the score is, to be in there the whole first quarter. Do you think they change anything like that? Do you think that Rui ends up starting this game here? I mean, he's been one of the key guys that's been coming off of the bench and really putting up a great effort there. What type of changes do you expect them to do here if we think the Lakers win?
Yeah, I think for one, starting Rui would be a big thing. I think you got to get the hot hands into the starting lineup. You want all of your best guys who are going out, making shots, being aggressive. You want them in there from the opening tip, in my personal opinion. And I think Rui would be one of those guys. And not only has Rui been doing it on the offensive end, he has been playing very good defense. He's a big body. He's tough to bully out there. He's a good rebounder, someone you can switch on and off different offensive players too. So I do think you should start with him. D'Lo has just been struggling to a point that this Nuggets team has been exploiting him, especially Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray just literally starts drooling when he sees D'Angelo Russell on him because he's absolutely balling. He's making everything on D'Lo right now. So I think you have to change some things up. I think LeBron going out at the 5-minute mark, I don't think that can happen here. I think you got to run him the entire time. Like you said, I think he needs to continue to stay aggressive. And I understand that he's 38 years old. Stamina could be an issue, and they're trying to pick the spots with him. But this is a win-or-go-home spot. So I think he does have to run. He might run near the entire game here. And I think Anthony Davis needs to do the same as long as they're staying, somewhat out of foul trouble. So I would be with you. I think those are the 2 changes that you need to make. Austin Reeves has been playing great basketball. He's not going anywhere. I think you just need to potentially insert Rui. You don't really need D'Lo all that much because I think LeBron is going to do a lot of the ball handling, a lot of the facilitating anyways. So for me, I'd be right in that boat with you. I think it would be Rui, definitely adding to that starting lineup, and LeBron getting 40-plus minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I hope we see that. I really do because I think Rui plays well off the ball, right? He doesn't need to be ball dominant, where D'Lo can come off the bench and be that guy, that spark plug that they need off of the bench, and really just be that ball dominant guy that he's typically being, where he typically thrives. So maybe that's the change that they make today. Hopefully we see that, and that would definitely help us on this Lakers side here if that's going to be the way that we go. All right, any last words on this one before we look ahead to Heat Celtics game 4?
No, just real quick that, even adding Dennis Schroeder to that starting lineup potentially, I think that would also be a good move too because you have to try and limit Jamal Murray. And Schroeder has been the far better defender in comparison to D'Angelo Russell. And you got to try and do something to slow down Murray and Jokic. It's really been Murray. Everyone else has been contributing, KCP, Bruce Brown, all those guys playing very well. But those two have been so dominant that it's been incredibly tough for this Lakers team to keep up. So you got to do something to try and slow those guys down. And I would, after last game, if I was Darvin Ham, I would not want a D'Angelo Russell, Jamal Murray matchup. You got to try and get Dennis Schroeder out there a little more. Try and mix some things up because you're down 3-0, backs against the wall. So, yeah, I'm 100% with you. It's time to switch a couple things up, and I think we might see a starting lineup very similar to what we talked about.
I like it. All right, well, let's move on to this game 4, Heat Celtics. Looking ahead to that one, I think this one's going to be Wednesday. Yeah, or sorry, tomorrow. Celtics looking to avoid the sweep as well in Miami. Here, down 3-0 in the series after a poor performance in Game 3. They just looked out of sync, Matt. Yesterday, I got burnt on that Celtics first quarter, kind of thinking that they would come out with a sense of urgency there, but the Heat had an answer for pretty much everything that they had Coach Spo, man, playing chess while Missoula and the Celtics playing checkers. And it's pretty obvious. Missoula also, if I don't know if you heard this, but after the game, he pretty much confirmed that he lost the locker room. They're not together at all. The chemistry is not there. Something's going on. So for me, it's pretty simple. It's got to be the Heat or nothing. Game 4. Just from that, if the team is not together in this situation here, I can't see them putting anything together in Game 4. They just really, like I said, they look defeated. One thing too, it's backed by a historical trend. I looked at when the lower seed is up 3-0 in the series, looking for that sweep. 9-3 straight up, 8-4 against the spread, also 8-3-1 to the over. So the data backs it up. I mean, the fact that the locker room is pretty much lost from the coach, it all points towards Miami here to finish off the sweep. So I'm probably going to look towards the Heat or the Heat team total over in some type of way or fashion. What are your thoughts on this Game 4 Heat and Celtics, Matt?
Yeah, man, I would be 100% with you. And yesterday when I was looking at the line as well, I was somewhat surprised to see, I believe it started at -3 for the Celtics. And by the time it closed, I believe it was at 4.5. So people were hammering the Celtics. And I just couldn't get there just because of what I've witnessed throughout the series. And if anywhere, I was thinking the Heat. And, it's one of those series where I can't really recall breaking down a series like this in years past, because it's like, especially when the series started, everything pointed you to Boston, and with the Heat throughout the playoffs, a lot of it's been like that. But there is something with Eric Spoelstra. There is something with Jimmy Butler. There is something with these undrafted players who are coming in with a sense of urgency, a sense of confidence, that Spoelstra and probably Jimmy Butler, the Heat fans, everything has instilled in them because, Gabe Vincent, a guy like that coming out getting 29 points, a guy like Duncan Robinson, I think Duncan Robinson had 22, something like that. And here's the thing, if those two don't go off, they have guys like Max Strus who are confident enough to come in and knock down shots. And it's absolutely wild. A Heat team who almost lost from the play-in tournament is playing this confident and going against a Boston Celtics team who is typically one of the more confident teams that, you've ever seen out there. Jason Tatum pulling up from all over, Jaylen Brown. They have great bench guys like Derek White, Malcolm Brogdon, 6th man of the year. And they are just getting rolled over by this Miami Heat team. And what it almost reminds me of is that old school Lakers team when they faced the Pistons in the finals. Everyone thought that Lakers team was going to absolutely roll them over. And the low-key Pistons team who just, very well coached, good on defense. They have got all these role players who come in, contribute, do their job every single night. That's the Miami Heat right now. And, it's gotten to a point now where, to me, it's a given. I thought the Boston Celtics were going to come back when they were down 0-1. I thought they were going to come back when they were down 0-2. After that last game, and you watch them on the bench, like you said, I think they have lost the locker room. You see everyone putting their head down, stuff like that. There's just not a ton of confidence there, even though they do have the better overall team. I think it's just Eric Spoelstra, how well they're coached, Jimmy Butler, how well he's playing, rallying the team as well. And it reminds you like the old school LeBron days too, how he would make everyone around him so much better by his level of play, by the shit talk. I think Jimmy Butler's confidence, even talking shit when they're down 6, whatever it may be, I think that's infectious. I think that goes throughout the whole team. So, I think the Heat are going to close this out. I believe this is a -2 spread right now. And, this is something that I see the Heat coming out and covering. And now it has me thinking to the Nuggets in the next series, because no team is playing as good as the Nuggets right now. But, have I doubted the Heat too much already? Could this Heat team even do this?
That's what I'm saying. Can we keep doubting the Heat?
It's wild, man. I've never watched anything like this. It reminds me almost of March Madness. Anyone who made an NBA bracket, if you had these two teams potentially facing off in the finals, you're a guru, because there is absolutely no chance I saw this coming. But again, I would have the Heat closing out here. I wouldn't be surprised if it was another alternate line where it's by 10 or more. This Celtics team just doesn't seem to have much right now. It seems like they're just laying over and dying, if I'm being honest. And, if they go out like this, if they go out in flames, you might say see you later to Jaylen Brown as well. So I'm pretty interested to see what this offseason will have for these guys after.
Yeah, for sure. It's tough to see it because you had a lot of people had high expectations for this team, but we always talk about, teams peaking at the right time, and that's the Heat and the Nuggets, man. They're just doing it right at the right time. One thing to mention, game three, we didn't see a lot of minutes from Bam. We didn't see a lot of minutes from Butler. They just because it was a blowout pretty much from the beginning. I mean, Bam only played 25 minutes, had 13, 3, and 2. He was pretty dominant the first couple games. Do you expect him to? I mean, the reason why I don't know if I want to kind of take him on a bounce back on his props is because what if this does become another blowout and we don't see we don't see the heavy minutes from these key players again, then it's pretty much going to be the under. So I guess it's correlated, right? If you think the Celtics are actually going to try and fight back in game four, you would probably think that you get an over type play on Bam's props. But if you think the Celtics have given up, they're defeated, they're going to get blown out, you'd probably say take the under on some of these key players on the Heat side, right? Isn't that the way that you would go?
Yeah, 100%. Even from yesterday's game, I did take something away from that, which I found interesting because during the blowout run, obviously the guys like Bam Adebayo weren't playing, Jimmy Butler, Max Strus, those guys weren't playing, but Gabe Vincent still was. Gabe Vincent played the entire duration of the game, no matter what. So that's when you hear that term blowout proof, there are some players on certain teams who are blowout proof because even they'll be in that starting lineup. And even if the game gets out of hand, they're going to be in that second run lineup as well. And Gabe Vincent is one of those guys. So he might be one of those guys you actually want to carry over because I'm 100% with you, Ron. It is so hard to trust this Boston Celtics team right now. Like, they haven't given you a hint that they're going to come out and play well. Like, they haven't given us anything. So usually you're trying to go off of something, whether games pass, maybe some patterns, something along those lines. Everything with the Celtics says they're going to come in and play terrible, if I'm being honest. So it would be very tough to trust someone like Jimmy, someone like Bam, Tatum, Brown. Shit, I might run a 4-player alternative under parlay where I just take them all under 32 and a half or something like that. I bet you that works, because if they get blown out again, that's exactly how it's going to go. So for me, if I were looking anywhere, I think it would actually be Gabe because Gabe Vincent is the one. He's shooting very confident right now. He chips in a couple of assists here and there. And again, he's blowout proof. So he's going to get those 30-plus minutes. Or even Duncan Robinson coming off the bench, maybe take his threes or something like that because, again, he's another guy who's blowout proof and he's going against the second unit, might be able to hit those threes. So those would be the two I would actually look at. A little obscure, but different.
Yeah. That makes sense to me. One more thing before we move on to the best bets, because if we get 2 sweeps, we're not gonna have a show for a bit. So I want to look ahead and let's just say, right, we have the Heat and the Nuggets in the finals, right? There's some speculation that maybe Harrell comes back in the finals, right, from his injury. But with how well the Heat have been playing, that I feel like that's going to be a big narrative here. I feel like if he comes back, are they going to struggle? Right? Are they going to struggle? Will it mess up the chemistry? Like you said, Vincent has been balling out of control right now. He's someone that could be affected by the play of Tyler Herro if he comes back. Is Herro coming back a negative or a positive in your mind in the finals if he comes back?
Wow, that's a great question because you sit here and you're like, anyone of Tyler Herro's ability you would think would be a positive. He's shooting from the outside, stuff like that. He's a solid rebounder. He's an okay defender. I guess a lot of it depends on him and how he comes in and plays because, for me and you, one thing that we've talked about all season long is when you re-add a star back into a lineup, a lot of people think it's a positive, and it's actually generally a negative. Maybe not the entire series, but it's generally a negative for game 1 or game 2 because, it messes up a lot of chemistry, what's going on with the synergy and things like that. And exactly what you said, this Heat team is clicking at the correct time. And with Harrell, they weren't exactly clicking all that well. So there was something that happened when he kind of came out of the lineup that made this team gel and made this team get better and synergize. And so for me, I think you have to put him back in, but Eric Spoelstra is too smart. I don't expect him to put him in the starting lineup. I actually would expect him to come off the bench, probably the entire series. He might take some Duncan Robinson minutes away, if anything, because at
That's
the
true.
end of the day, it's not like Duncan Robinson is knocking down his outside shots more than typical, no doubt. But it's not like Duncan Robinson gives you great defense, or it's not like he rebounds extremely well or anything like that. So if Harrell comes in and takes those minutes, I think he's doing something that could be essentially equivalent, if not a little bit more. I think what Spoelstra needs to do is allow him to come in, but not have these crazy expectations or anything along those lines. Basically like, hey, you're going to come back in, you're going to do what Duncan was doing. We're going to want you to rebound a little bit and play some defense and try and knock down some outside shots. If it's late in the shot clock, we can get it to you with the second unit and try and make a shot out of it, because he is one of those guys who he's a shot creator. He can make some tough shots late in the shot clock, stuff like that. But for me, I would not be adding him back into the starting lineup. I think he has to come off the bench, and I think Spoelstra realized that going into the finals, that's just too much. You're risking too much for one player, and I understand he's very good and stuff like that, but you don't want to risk everything that you've done over all these playoff series to try and plug him back in and just hope it works. You got something that you're sweeping the best team in the Eastern Conference. So I would just keep it as is and have him come off the bench in my eyes.
I love that answer. Yeah, I want the viewers to know, like, Matt never knows what I'm asking him. Whenever we do a show, he does not know what I'm asking him, any follow-up questions or anything. But I love that answer. It's pretty much the way that I was thinking about it too. I mean, I think he would be a great fit off of the bench. But one thing to mention as well, I don't know if you saw the one of the post-game interviews. Bam Adebayo was on the panel with like Chuck and Shaq and stuff, and Chuck asked him, he was like, yo, what's going to happen if Tyler Herro comes back? It almost like Bam's reaction almost seemed like he didn't want him to come back. That's my takeaway from it. He was like, the Shaq was like, they're winning without him, right? And then Bam's like, yep, see, we don't really need him. So, that reaction kind of tells me a lot based on whether they come back with Harrell, if he's going to go to the starting lineup or the bench. I think you're right. I think he's going to come off of the bench. He's done it before, 6-man, of the year candidate multiple years in a row. Like, it's a role that fits him. So I think it makes sense. Keep that chemistry on the starting lineup. Bring Harrell off of the bench. Take Duncan Robinson's minutes. Makes a lot of sense to me. Hopefully that's the way they go, and we have a really good finals. That's my take on that as well. Definitely agree with you there. All right, let's move on to the best bet section, Matt. Let's go with you first here. What's your best bet for today's show, and what do you got going on over at SportsMemo?
Yeah, guys, right now over at SportsMemo, I only have one play loaded. I will probably have 2 or 3 by the end of the night. And the play that is loaded is the play that I'm giving you right here. And it is going to be the best bet of the day. And it is going to be LeBron James over 42.5 points, rebounds, assists. And you guys heard me talk about this before. This is a do or die spot for the Los Angeles Lakers. LeBron is the leader of that team, and he's really the one that I expect to be aggressive, come out and get this done. LeBron, when he is very aggressive, everything like that, he's usually doing all 3 stat stuffing categories. He's getting points, he's getting rebounds, he's getting assists. This series, he's averaging 23.7 points, 10.3 assists, and 9.3 rebounds. So right there, finishing at around the 41 PRA mark every single game in this series. He's hit this in 1 out of 3 matchups and really has not been scoring well whatsoever. So that's the thing. If LeBron is just a little bit more aggressive, if he just goes and tries to get to the free throw line just a little bit more, I fully expect him to hit this line. And, this is in front of the Lakers crowd in Los Angeles. All the stars are going to be in sight. And I think LeBron is too prideful. This is very much a legacy situation for him as well. Much of us hear about the Michael Jordan, LeBron James comparison. When the finals are over, that's what a lot of the conversation is about. It's about Michael Jordan. It's about LeBron James. And if LeBron James gets swept, you can honestly put a knife in that debate. It's dead. And so LeBron knows that as well. LeBron loves coming out and saying, I'm the best player in the world, this and that. Now you got to go out and prove it. You're facing a Nuggets team that is potentially going to sweep you in the Western Conference Finals. LeBron's been here before. If there's anyone, Ron said it earlier, if there's anyone to somehow turn this ship around in the entire NBA, it's probably LeBron James. So I think he's going to rally the troops. I think Darvin Ham is going to rally the troops. And I really am expecting a big game from LeBron here. And I think he needs to have 20-plus shots tonight. Once again, you guys heard me say it earlier, Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray have been dominating LeBron James and Anthony Davis. They need to switch that around. It's got to be LeBron and Anthony Davis winning that matchup against them. I think if that happens, I think if those two outplay Jokic and Murray, they get the job done tonight. So I'm with LeBron James over 42.5 points, rebounds, assists.
I like it. And my best bet is in correlation there. I've talked about it a little bit earlier. That first quarter for the Lakers, they're -1.5. That's the way that I'm gonna go with my best bet for today's show. Like I mentioned earlier, the trend that I looked at historically, home faves down 3-0 in a series typically take that first quarter, a plus 2.4 point margin. I know it's pretty tight on that -1.5 line, but I think that sense of urgency from a LeBron led team. I think he's going to get his team motivated, avoid the sweep here. For the most part, I think it's going to be early. I don't think we're going to see LeBron coming out of that 5-minute mark. I think he's going to play the whole first quarter, in my opinion. One thing that we've seen was, some success in game 3 when Jokic was in foul trouble. I think they're going to probably try and attack him again and get him in early foul trouble once again and see if they can get it done that way. And then we'll see some of the role players pop in that starting role. Hopefully, someone like Rui into the starting role there. We'll probably see a little bit more Schroeder on the defensive side of the ball to kind of try and limit Murray as much as possible. But for the most part, I'm going to stick with that. The first quarter, I think that's where most of the damage is going to be done for the Lakers. Hopefully, we see a Nuggets team get a little lax in the early part of this game here. Lakers take advantage of it. From a premium side, I do have actually a 5% play on the total here. That's kind of why I stayed away from talking about it, but that's up and available over on wagertalk.com, $9 Monday. I also have 3 MLB plays to add to that as well. So that's all in a single package. That is what's going on over at wagertalk.com. That is my best bet for today's show. Matt also talked about his best bet as well. And Matt, we actually talked about a lot of stuff today, Matt, led up to Game 4, Heat Celtics, even the finals, because we hopefully, I don't expect any surprises, but hopefully we see the Nuggets and the Heat, and we kind of gave our initial thoughts on that one. So with that said, not gonna know if we have a show on Wednesday or not, depending on if we get a sweep in both series. But if we do have a win here with the Lakers, we might have a show on Wednesday. If not, we might not see you for a while until the NBA Finals. So till then, guys, good luck with our reaction. Peace.
Peace.